Welcome back to the Arise interview, where we speak to the newsmakers as well as ordinary people doing extraordinary things around the world and featuring the voices at the heart of the stories. I'm Charles Aniagolo. Now, my next guest, Vanessa Amadi Ogbonna, has earned titles and responsibilities beyond her years in the world of public relations and entertainment management, an industry leader who's watched over and guided the careers of some of the greatest stars to rise out of Africa, Black Britain and African America. She's executed huge international PR campaigns for the likes of Usher, Ciara, Estelle and Ne-Yo, and was Whitney Houston's UK and European publicist for 7 years until she passed in 2012. Vanessa is currently representing some of Africa's biggest entertainers, including the actress, movie producer and director Genevieve Nnaji. She was instrumental in breaking D'banj into the UK with his first international hit, Oliver Twist, which reached number 9 in the UK top 40 charts in 2011, the highest position that a Nigerian Afrobeat artist has reached in the UK charts to date. Her management, music licensing, events and entertainment company known as Stealth Management represents the likes of Tiwa Savage, Davido and Timi Dakolo. Well, in a moment we'll speak to Vanessa Amadi Ogbonna herself. But first, here's a clip from a television documentary celebrating some of her accomplishments.
Been to Ghana, Nigeria, and now we're in England. Making of a Mogul Ladies Edition featuring Vanessa Amadi, publicist to the stars. If you believe it, you can achieve it.
And she's on it.
I knew Vanessa from a quite young age. I used to give her advice on how it could be in PR. She eventually ended up working with us, and we did. She helped set up the urban side of what we do. Worked very hard with Usher, got Usher first cover of Glamour, which was a big deal. I spotted in her an enthusiasm and an energy, a commitment. She's a natural communicator. She's a heck of an entrepreneur. She's a real little business lady, you know. She's adaptable.
This is the reason why Jesus came, so that he can bridge that gap. Before you talk to his Father, you need to go through Jesus Christ.
When you cast your mind back to when she was at Hammersmith and basically got her internship into the BBC, did you feel that that was actually going to be the beginning of a very good, challenging, yes, but very good, fruitful career for Vanessa?
Oh, yes. Yes, very much. I saw the drive, the determination in her to make it, and I saw hard work. She was really putting all in whatever she was doing, and it didn't matter what time she got back. She was always early, off to do whatever. I would not say it's me that made her what she is today. It is God. We're a very strong Christian family, and also the discipline, because I'm naturally a disciplinarian.
Yes.
So I had to instill discipline in my children.
And nothing like keeping it in the family. That's Vanessa's mother there. Well, let's speak now to the PR and entertainment management guru herself. Delighted to have Vanessa Amadi Ogbonna joining us from our London studios. Thank you very much indeed for coming in, Vanessa. I know you're an exceedingly busy woman, and I know we've tried to catch you over a period of time, so thank you for making out the time and coming in to talk to us. First of all, let me just ask you to explain to us, for those who might not know, what PR is and how essentially it is, or how essential it is to the making or breaking of an artist's musical or acting career.
Hello, Charles. Thank you for having me. So PR, my job effectively is to promote a brand. My job is to promote artists, to make sure that the world knows about them, make sure that the products that they're selling, whether it's music or a specific product, is out there in the right way. So that's my job. I'm the interim between the person and media. I shape the campaign and I make sure that the best possible image of that person is put out.
That's obviously a very, very critical job. We'll talk about how you've been executing that job and the number of people that you've been working with. Very important people in the music business, the movie business and so on. But the next logical question before we get there is, how did you get into all this? I mean, was it something you studied at school or something you sort of chanced into?
No, I actually studied computer science, that's my degree, but a lady called Kanya King, who runs an event called the MOBO Awards, I did some work experience with her, and whilst I was there, she thought that I would be really, really good in the PR department. So I did a short internship there and ended up becoming PR manager and running the publicity for the MOBO Awards for all in all about 8 years, so that's where it started.
MOBO is Music of Black Origin Awards, which is a big sort of music festival in the UK, which is sort of celebrated and I mean absolutely huge award ceremony. And of course you ended up going way beyond MOBO, didn't you?
I did. I got poached actually by an entertainment company called the Outside Organisation, run by a incredible PR called Alan Edwards. He looked after David Bowie and the Spice Girls. In fact, he launched the Spice Girls, and he looked after their publicity. So we worked together on MOBO, and he asked me to come and work for his company. And I did, and eventually I ran the urban division, which represented people like Usher and Destiny's Child and a number of incredible acts. So I went from there, and then I ended up eventually opening my own firm.
And I mean, we'll talk about Stealth Management, which is your firm, a little bit later. But I mean, just going back to your evolution as a PR person, I wonder how much of that you owe to some extent to your father, who was a very well-known music impresario in Nigeria in the 60s and 70s. He promoted a lot of groups, he helped form a lot of the bands of that era, and he was a well-known sort of national and international music journalist.
Yes, so my PR firm is actually called VA PR Publicity. Stealth Management is my management firm, which we could talk about later. But yeah, absolutely. My father, Tony Amadi, brilliant writer, journalist, looked after a number of bands, like as you say, in the 60s and 70s. It's funny because I actually didn't realize that the work that I was doing was almost shadowing some of the work that my father had been doing many decades before then. But my work ethic and part of the reason why I decided to branch off and open up my own company and have something of my own was in fact down to my mother, Vivian Amadi, who was a great entrepreneur, very hard worker, raised the 5 children, me and my siblings, and it was her energy and her vision with her own businesses that I realized, well, actually, I can do this myself.
Very, very impressive stuff. And of course, you went on to work with the likes of Whitney Houston. I mean, to be honest, you couldn't get bigger than that. I mean, Usher, people like that, you know, Grammy award-winning artists, some of the biggest pop stars in the world, and presumably at some stage you felt it was time to take a closer look at Africa and what was happening there musically.
Yes. Whitney Houston was incredible. She actually hired me when she came and did an event in London, and when she realized that the person that her team was liaising with was a young black girl, she said, I really want to work with her. And I was blessed to work with her for up until her passing in 2012. But yeah, absolutely. I wanted to do more with my heritage and the music that was coming from my country. And I met this incredible guy who I knew as D'banj, and he gave me the opportunity to work on his project, which thankfully was very successful actually, and from there went on to work with a number of other acts, including, as you say, Davido, Tiwa Savage, and some others.
Well, yes, and of course you now represent a huge clutch, as you mentioned, of some of the biggest names in Afrobeats to emerge out of Africa. I expect that one success that you're particularly proud of is what you did with D'banj, his Oliver Twist, which achieved a top 10 hit in sort of the mainstream charts in the UK, and that record's still unbroken.
Yes, that was something that was actually unexpected. We didn't expect the record to do so well, but I'm just so proud to have been a part of a historic project.
And I mean, did it take a lot of work on your part to bring Afrobeats to global attention? Because I've read that you were partly responsible, if not completely responsible, for bringing it to mainstream international attention.
I mean, I certainly wouldn't say it's completely responsible. I'd like to feel that I played a part in shifting Afrobeats to the forefront in not just in the UK but globally. But absolutely, it wasn't easy to promote African music, Afrobeats, in the UK, which is where I'm from. It took a long time for people to understand the genre, the sound, but thankfully, you know, I had great artists and great music to work with, and also the Africans in the diaspora demanded it. So it was almost that it couldn't have been ignored.
Well, stay with us.
It still can't be ignored.
Well, absolutely. Stay with us, Vanessa, because we want to talk to you some more. We're going to take a short break. You're watching the Arise interview. Plenty more still ahead as we continue our chat with Vanessa Amadi Ogbonna, the Wonder Woman of global PR, who's responsible for executing international campaigns for some of the world's biggest African, British, and African American entertainers. Stay with us. Welcome back to the Arise interview. I'm Charles Anyegolu. Now, it is one thing to be a brilliant artist, but getting your music and your talent to be recognized by the masses requires the expertise of experienced and well-organized public relations and management firms. One woman who is leading the field in getting African music to the UK, the US, and the world would have to be my guest on the show today, Vanessa Amadi Ogbonna. Praised by many as one of the key forces behind bringing Afrobeats music to the international stage and entrenching its growing global dominance, Vanessa is credited with shaping and executing publicity campaigns for past and present clients, some of whom include Afrobeat stars Davido, Tiwa Savage, D'banj, as well as British R&B singer Estelle and the likes of Usher, Ne-Yo, Ciara, and the Grammy Award winner Whitney Houston. Well, in a moment, we'll speak some more to the PR Wonder Woman, Vanessa Amadi Ogbonna. But first, here's another snippet from that documentary celebrating the work she's done in bringing Afrobeats to global attention.
I spotted in her an enthusiasm and an energy. She's a natural communicator. She's a heck of an entrepreneur.
I was able to deal with her clients. She gave me a lot of responsibility quite early on.
I wanted to bring my skills back to my people. I go back home to Nigeria and think, oh my God, these people are amazing. The music is incredible.
We're a bit nervous. I'm a bit nervous because I want a top 10, I want a top 5, I want higher.
How are you able to juggle and manage all these acts simultaneously and do it so well?
What you saw was, I guess, a little glimpse into what we do. And I think you caught a couple of hours, but that's happening 24/7. D'banj, I think when you were in London, we had a fantastic week with his debut, number 9. Yes. So I'm really pleased about that.
Yeah. I remember in the taxi you said, you know, I want a top 10, and you got it.
Yes, we did. We number 9. So really pleased about that. I'm like Oliver, I want more. I want the next one to be even bigger, and not just more for Tabanj, but for Africa. So much scope for everyone to come through now.
Is it something that you always plan to do, to take your skills or to bring your skills to wonderful, beautiful, sunny Africa?
It wasn't what I had planned to do, but as I started coming back home, I just realised that, my gosh, first off, this place looks totally different to how they have shown us, you know, poverty and the people, you know, not able to do certain things. I've seen the real Africa.
What makes you so focused?
Oh, wow. I mean, again, I have to give everything to God, because I was not always focused. My mother is just so, she does everything. She juggles everything. And I think from her, I learned that, you know, if you want to make one thing work, you've got to be able to focus on the next few steps, not just the step.
And with me, I'm delighted to say the Wonder Woman of global PR and management, entertainment management, Vanessa Amadi Ogbonna, who joins me from our London studios. Thank you very much indeed for staying with us, Vanessa. And you're on the album cover, aren't you, of Davido's latest album? I mean, that's a big tribute, if I ever saw one, and I think we've got a clip of that. It's actually on the screen now as I talk to you.
I am, yeah. That was a big surprise, actually, a really big surprise. But I mean, that's just a testament to who David is. He is all about his crew, his family, his friends. And the album, which just came out last week, A Good Time, he wanted to show how he has a good time, and he included all his friends. So it was really, really, really lovely of him to do that. But it's not just me, obviously there's his whole crew, family, children, fiance, new baby, everyone's on the cover. So it's lovely. It's very nice of him to do that.
Yeah, as I said, I mean, that's a brilliant tribute. But I mean, just looking at the work that you did and the part you played in bringing Afrobeats to global attention, I mean, taking it from the fringes into the mainstream of global attention, I mean, that must have taken a lot of work.
Yeah, absolutely. Definitely wasn't easy. But, you know, when you believe in something and you're lucky to have talent around you that's brilliant, like the acts that not only I was working with, but some of the other acts, even those I don't work with, it made the story easier to sell in. And as I said earlier, the support that Afrobeats has from the diaspora and even people back home in Africa, that there's such a huge demand for the music that there was really nothing that was going to stop it coming through.
So, I mean, just looking at the work that you do and, you know, to enlighten sort of our audience, I mean, in today's music business, how do you think a band can best get through or above the noise? Presumably, they'd have to start by having really good music.
Absolutely. I mean, that's the basis of talent. That's the basis, and the only way that it can work is if you have the talent. But outside of that, we are in an age where you don't need much to put your music out. You have the internet, you have social media, and it's a lot more easier to get heard. But as you say, to break through the noise, you absolutely have to have the talent and keep pushing. Eventually, you'll get through. And
maybe this is putting you a bit on the spot there, but I'm just wondering what you thought of the group we had earlier that were performing. Well, we saw some of their videos, and I was talking to them, known as Three Toast. They are young men, teenagers really, of Nigerian origin, raised in Britain and America. And if you were minded, I mean, how would you, just as an example, go about pitching them to the world, for instance?
You know, I was actually talking to their father just before I came on air, and one of the things that first of all, they're a group, and I don't come across many Afrobeat groups. So already there's a USP there for them already. Also, they really highly educated from what I was reading earlier. I think one of them's in medical school. There's so much that can be talked about, and then even more importantly, I heard little clips of their music earlier, and they sound fantastic. So I think they're young and they look good as well. So there's definitely a future for them, in my opinion. I'd love to hear more. Kind of reminds me of almost like a Jackson 5, their vibe and the way they look. But I wish them all the best, and I'd love to be able to, give a little bit of input into their career.
Well, I'm sure they'd be absolutely over the moon to hear you saying that. But I mean, just beyond them and sort of the people like that, I mean, what should an artist not do whilst trying to succeed in this business? What should they most definitely avoid? I mean, impatience, laziness, and to realize that there are no shortcuts to working hard in the music business. I mean, anything else?
I mean, for me, if you try to emulate someone else, it's just not going to work. You have to be yourself, whatever that is. You need to present yourself in the way you are. People want to believe a story. They want to believe who you are. They want to believe that what you're performing is real and is you. And that really is the only way to break out, in my opinion. So yeah, I just say the only thing not to do is to not be yourself, and don't emulate other people. Don't try and be the next whoever. Just be yourself.
And Vanessa, we've got about a minute or so left. I mean, what are some of the changes that you've seen, in the music business? You've watched it evolve over the years, and what are some of the changes that you foresee in the music business?
All I see is the changes that I've seen so far is that we are now, we as in the Afrobeat scene we're much more exposed. We have a huge platform that we're finally using. You have great acts like Burna Boy nominated for Grammys. The only way is up for Afrobeats. So I think it's exciting times, and there's a huge future ahead.
And for you personally, in terms of your career, do you see yourself focusing exclusively on Afrobeats?
Not at all. I mean, right now I don't. It's not just Afrobeat clients that I represent, but Africa, Nigeria is the heart of. It's where my passion lies. It's a place that I want to be able to expand. So I don't see myself to stop working with any Afrobeat acts for a while. So.
Vanessa, I want to thank you very much indeed. You're an absolute hero. Thank you for coming in, Vanessa Amadi Ogbonna, the Wonder Woman of Global PR. That's it for this edition of the Arise interview. Join us again tomorrow from me and the entire team here in Abuja and London. Bye-bye, and thank you for watching.